Welcome to my channel, where we discuss everything and all things politics, economy, and development in Nigeria and around the world. Rotational presidency has been called for it to be done away with. In other words, there should be no rotational presidency in Nigeria. That competency should be the hallmark of choosing the president of Nigeria. What do you think about this position, that there should be no rotational presidency in Nigeria, that it has not served Nigeria better, and that it should be done away with? Now, that was the view of a chieftain of the Arewa Consultative Forum, Usman Bugaje, who has called for an end to Nigeria's rotational presidency, stating that it has plunged the country into a socio-economic crisis. Bugaje made this known during an interview with the Arise television crew, the morning show, where he said and emphasized the need for Nigeria to focus on competence rather than regional rotation. What do you think? What do you think about Bugaje's position that there should be no rotational presidency, that competency should be the hallmark of choosing the next president in Nigeria, and that rotational presidency has failed Nigeria? What do you think? I think Bugaje is being clever by half. He is being clever by half. The rotational presidency is not the reason why we have been having incompetent people in charge of this country. The problem is in choosing the right people when the presidency is rotated to your area. Don't tell me that in the whole of northern Nigeria that Muhammadu Buhari was the best person, the best candidate they could put forward among the millions of northerners. When you don't put your best foot forward, you don't blame the system, the rotational presidency, for the incompetency of the leadership that emerged. It is not the rotational presidency that made Tinubu to emerge. It's not the rotational presidency that made Tinubu to be incompetent, just like Buhari had been incompetent. What do I mean by Tinubu being incompetent? If Tinubu is competent, the economy would have done better under him than even under Buhari, who was a basket case in management of Nigeria's economy, Nigeria's diversity, and everything. But Tinubu has shown even worse capacity for nepotism, for mismanagement of the economy, to the level that Nigeria's naira is the worst performing currency in the world. Nigeria has expanded the net of poverty, unprecedented in our history. People are barely surviving in Nigeria right now. It's an indication that it's a failure. But that failure is not because the presidency was zoned to the south or was rotated to the south. It was because the most incompetent was picked from the south. You have people like Peter Obi from the south, who is competent, who has capacity, who has what it takes, who has clean record to be able to run Nigeria aright. You have people like Yemi Osibanjo, who has the capacity, who has the intellect, who has what it takes to run a decent country. These guys were shoved aside, and it was Tinubu, with all the allegations from Chicago to everywhere. That was the one you found more competent to preside over Nigeria. It is not the rotational presidency that is the problem. It is those who are put in charge when it is rotated to a part of the country. In fact, the rotational presidency is one of the issues that if the southern politicians in the National Assembly are reasonable, that is one of the first things they should ensure that it is enshrined in the Constitution so that nobody can change it, that the presidency of Nigeria must be rotated among the 6 geopolitical zones. It must be rotated compulsorily as is being done in other countries, including the Switzerland. The presidency must be rotated. This idea that Bugaje is bringing, that is late competence, so that they will use their number to overwhelm everybody. That's what is playing out. We want a country that will be inclusive. There is no part of the 6 geopolitical zone that you cannot get the competent person. But it is when you get to a zone and people go and look for the worst to be put in charge of Nigeria, that is where you get the matter wrong. Now, look at the geopolitical zone. How did it come about? It was in the 2005 Constitutional Conference, where late former Vice President, Dr. Lesekweme, wrote a minority report on the 6 geopolitical zone and talked about rotational presidency with 6 vice presidential candidates. And it was excellent. In fact, if Nigeria had gone ahead with that 6 vice presidents and a rotational president under the 6 geopolitical zone, as envisaged by Dr. Kweme, we would not have had the crisis we had under the PDP when Yar'Adua died. What would have happened was that as Yar'Adua died, somebody from Northwest, who is the vice president, who is one of the 6 vice presidents, will now take over from Yar'Adua. There wouldn't have been any need for the crisis that later ensued about Jonathan from South taking over from Yar'Adua. That disrupted the rotational presidency in the PDP. Note, the present rotational presidency is a political affair being done by PDP, APC, and what have you. It's not in the Constitution. But there's a need even to enshrine it in the Constitution, because this rotational presidency is no different. It's no different from federal character. It's virtually no different. The federal character says that no part of the country should be allowed to dominate any part, any sector. Now, if you are talking about the presidency, then one part keep on producing the president under the guise of competency because they have the numbers. Where then is justice there? So certain lawmakers are very lazy. They are looking for presidency to be democratized. Yet Southeast lawmakers are there, South lawmakers are there, Southwest lawmakers are there. All these people, North Central, they are there, and they cannot push for a constitutional amendment that will make it compulsory for the presidency to rotate across the 6 geopolitical zones, so that every part of this country will be carried along. Every part of this country has competent people that could be president of Nigeria. Now, if you get to your zone and you pick your worst and put him forward, or the worst is allowed by other Nigerians, because at the end of the day, whoever comes out from any zone, it is Nigerian people that will vote. Now, if Nigerian people vote the worst among them to be the president, you can't blame the rotation for the incompetency of the leadership. You blame those who chose that candidate. Those who went to the convention, the presidential convention, and collected money and pushed forward a particular candidate from that zone to emerge as the candidate of their party. And then when that person enters the presidency and began to exhibit his incompetence, the whole country will pay the price. It is not the system, it is not the concept that is the problem. It is those who are running it. So let's be clear about it. And Bugaje is bringing up this matter because, right now, people are insisting that the presidency must remain in southern Nigeria. After 8 years of Muhammad Buhari, the power moved to the south under the APC arrangement, and Tinubu grabbed it. But you and I know that Tinubu is not the best candidate from the south. And that was why he was rejected overwhelmingly by southern Nigerians. Go and check the number, even with all the African magic that was done by INEC. Tinubu was roundly rejected in southern Nigeria, a zone that's supposed to produce the president, rejecting the one. But in the north itself, that same north that Bugaje came from, were among those that helped him to get some numbers that INEC was able to couple together, and they announced 8.7 million votes for him, with which he was declared the president. It is the same north that helped him to get there, to cross the finishing line, because southern Nigerians rejected him overwhelmingly. So who is to blame that the most incompetent from southern Nigeria is the one in charge? It is not the rotation. It is the person that was chosen. When the best was not chosen, that is what you get. So as far as I can say it, the best thing is to have it enshrined in the Constitution. This should not be a matter, if truly we love this country, if truly we want one Nigeria, if truly we want to move forward, is to enshrine it in the Constitution, rotational presidency, that the presidency of Nigeria will be rotated among the 6 geopolitical zones. Like I said, no part of this country is bereft of competent leaders. But if you get your turn and you put forward your worst, then the country have to live with it. It's not because rotational presidency is wrong. Rotational presidency is the best thing that could save this nation from implosion. This sense of entitlement that only your area, because you feel you have the number, you can subjugate others, have to stop. And already, in many states across Nigeria, the governorship position is being rotated. You see it being rotated, whether officially or non-officially, but it should be enshrined in the Constitution that the governorship election, the governors of states, should be rotated across the 3 senatorial districts of that state, to give every part of that state sense of belonging. You cannot have the kind of monopoly that some people have in some states. It's not supposed to be so. It has to be rotated. You go to Benue State, the Domas felt that there's no hope that an Idoma man can ever be governor of Benue State. It has to be rotated. In Niger State, they have what they call Zone ABC, named after the 3 senatorial zones in Niger State. And the governor of Niger State, since 1999, being rotated along this line. That's what should be. And they are only, I don't think it's in their constitution, but it's just the wisdom of the political leaders of Niger State. But I believe that there should be a constitutional provision for that rotation, both at the in terms of governorship election and in terms of the presidency, to give every part of Nigeria, every part of a state, a sense of belonging. This is not the time to do away with it. Those who are complaining are those who participated in foisting the worst candidates when it gets to a zone. Because what stopped the North from backing the most competent? But they were being influenced by religion, by all kinds of things in going for Tinubu when they should have gone for the best. Now they are complaining that rotational presidency doesn't work. It's not true. It works, only that you must choose the best candidate. I don't know what to think about this. What do you think about this idea that competency should be the hallmark? Of course, we know, we believe in competency. This channel believes in competency. That's why this channel backed Peter Obi in the last election. We supported him because we felt that he was competent. Because the president is supposed to come to southern Nigeria, he was the most competent. Nationwide, he was the most competent. He was the best foot forward that was put out by Southeast. And the rest of Nigerians agreed. And he was cruising to victory before the INEC magic. So the important thing is putting your best foot forward when it gets to your zone. It's not about the rotation itself. The rotation is the only thing that will save this country and save this democracy. And it ought to be in the Constitution. And it should be easily enshrined there. Far more important than every other thing that they are talking about, including the so-called restructuring they are talking about. One of the best restructuring you can do is to give everybody, every part of Nigeria, a sense of belonging. All this self-glorification that some ethnic group and zones have in Nigeria, they can come out and say, nobody from this zone can ever be president. Nobody from this ethnicity can ever be president. That is what will destroy this country. That is what will bury this country if it is not done away with. And we need to have rotational presidency enshrined in the Constitution, written in black and white, that every part of Nigeria has a right to produce a president when it gets to their turn. If that is not done, Nigeria will never be a great nation. All we will continue to struggle with it, because political parties should not be allowed to determine where the president comes from. It should be written in the Constitution that it must be rotated across the 6 geopolitical zones. If that is not done, we're just playing. That's my take. I don't know what to think about this, but whatever is your position, let's hear from you. Tell us, is there any part of this country, any part of the 6 geopolitical zone that cannot produce a good material to become president of Nigeria? Tell us. Let's hear from you at the comment section. Thank you for watching this video. And if you are new to my channel, you have not yet subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Hit the subscription button, hit the notification bell. When you subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, anytime I have a new video, you'll be among the first to know. God bless you. And please don't forget to like this video, because when you like it, God will rank it high and recommend it for more people. Thank you, and God bless you and yours.